TF2 has a lot of community game modes. Off the top of my head, Versus Axe and Hail, Dodgeball, Slender Fortress, Jump Maps, Zombie Escape, Stop That Tank, Times 10, TF2 Party, MG, Death Run, Jailbreak, Prop Hunt, Randomizer, Class Wars, Fort Wars, Balloon Race, Wacky Races, Smash Bros, and if you want to stretch technicalities, Trade Servers, Higher Tower, and Surf Maps. How many did I say there?
21.
So it seems pretty obvious that if you're bored of TF2's main game modes, then there are a shit ton of custom modes you can choose from. But this also means that a lot of modes that I mentioned don't usually have anyone playing them. Like, I can guarantee you when you're watching this video, at least a third of these game modes I mentioned aren't being played. And even then, there are way more game modes that I forgot about mentioning that I just realized while reading the script. Like, how the fuck did TF2 not come to my mind? But there was one mode I forgot to mention intentionally. It has a crap load of potential, but it was dead even when it released back in 2014, and hasn't even been close to having the full amount of maps that exist for the mode go into the triple digits. That being TF Kart. No, not the Mario Kart map. That fits into an entirely different game mode. TF Kart maps came from a spark of genius from a man named Zool. It all started when Scream Fortress 2014's Carnival of Carnage added a collection of mini-games at the end of the round. Those being collect the most ducks in bumper cars, score the most goals in bumper cars, and don't fall off the map in bumper cars. And Zool looked at the new bumper car mechanics and thought, what if we took this and turned TF2 into actual Mario Kart? Ooh boy, I bet this is gonna be the next Versus Saxton Hale! While twiddling with his beard in the process, because as we all know, that's a very important step. A couple days later, he came back with a TF Kart game mode prefab, where people who have knowledge of Hammer can use it to basically make maps of that game mode without having to add everything in every single time. And then he didn't finish any of the projects he was planning for the mode. Are you The most recognition this mode ever got was when Globbable made a now delisted 24/7 customized version of this mode, which ended up getting Serious Martin and RT Games' attention. And this is how I first discovered the mode all the way back then. But beyond those two single big name videos, there was nothing that came out of this mode, at least in terms of people playing it. Now, heading forward in time to 2021, the only surviving 24/7 server for this mode is run by Al.tf, which I'm personally sponsored by. Thankfully though, I've been able to find most of the maps and put them into an archived zip file for this video. The only ones I haven't been able to find is Globbable's Rainbow Road, which I'm honestly kind of surprised I can't find, considering that I can find Bowser's Castle. This one map featured in a YouTube video back in 2014, which I don't know the name of, and this one map which featured in a server one time, and then never again, supposedly being a TF Kart version of Dust Bowl. But considering that this was only played one time, I don't think we're missing out on much here. Alright then, enough dawdling, let's actually play this bitch. Explaining this mode is really simple. Everyone and their nan has played Mario Kart before, but in case you've only ever played Fortnite in your life and accidentally misclicked on the video, then I'll explain it to you anyway. You spawn on a track and you have to finish a set amount of laps of it faster than the other racers on the track. To aid you, you have item boxes, or in this case spell books, to assist you in taking down the other racers or giving yourself a boost. And that's the whole mode. However, TF Kart does have a couple of twists. First of all, it has a recharging mini boost which you can activate by using right click, which can be a lifesaver in a lot of scenarios. You usually only have to do one lap to win, and if you do win, it gives your entire team a victory instead of just you. So what's our item roster? Firstly, we have the Fist, which is this game's equivalent of the green shell. However, instead of stunning racers, it sends them flying forward. Use this on corners, because on straights, it just sends them further ahead. The Bombonomicon, which is this game's equivalent of the Lightning Cloud. The Bombonomicon gives you a bomb head, and you have to tag another racer before it blows up and damages you. Strangely, this is the only item in the entire game which actually does damage to the kart and the driver, immediately making the tail list for the characters look like this. The Ubercharge, which is this game's equivalent of the Star. It makes you invincible, of course, but instead of you giving a speed boost on top of that, like Mario Kart does, it gives you crit bumps. The parachute, which is actually its own idea entirely. It launches you into the air and gives you a parachute. If you take off the parachute really fast and then boost, it straight up becomes the best item in the game. The fifth... Wait, didn't we already talk about the fist? Oh, what's next on the slide? The Pominomica... What the fuck? There's only 4 items?! Yeah, this game doesn't have a lot of items, but if you ask me, that's actually a benefit to the mode. Because there's no boosts, landmines, homing attacks, first place miters, or wind devices, it takes the focus away from the items and shifts the focus to actual driving. And what makes that good? Well, remember that mini turbo we just talked about? Well, what if I told you that boosting had its own tech? If you didn't know about this, then you must have not been looking at the footage close enough. Either that or I was intentionally not using footage with the boost add-on. That aforementioned tech is what I like to call the Airstrike. Here's how it works. If you're in the air while boosting and turn, the game adds on more speed the longer you do it, somewhat akin to trimping. And when paired with specific maps or items, some of the speeds you can reach on this map feel almost illegal. In that sense, it's kind of similar to Mario Kart DS's snaking. It's a tech which takes a fair amount of skill, and if you're playing against good players, you literally cannot win without it. So what have we got in terms of tracks? Well, what I can certainly say is getting a hold of the track certainly isn't easy. I had to do a combination of jumping from server to server, map site to map site, YouTube video to YouTube video, and in the end, I ended up finding this many. And that's not even all of them! So, what tracks out of all of them are the highlights? Well, let's begin. Raceway. This is the most iconic track for the mode, and it's surprising considering that it was made 2 years after the mode was released.
This is me in the future! No, it wasn't! Don't listen to me!
It has 3 stages, all of them offering different strategies and shortcuts to getting around them. My personal favourite being Jump Skip, where you get a parachute at the beginning to skip this portion of the track right here. Technobabble. This is probably my favourite out of all of the stages, mainly because of the amount of character it has. It's set in a synthwave-esque future with a kick-ass track design. To compare, here's the layout for one of the tracks in Raceway, and here's Technobabble. Pretty cool, eh? And the best part is that this map even has its own OST with a fucking radio station! And it even has Big Bill Hill's cars in it! Holy shit, this was the creator's first and only map? That can't be right. Engineer Labs. This one sadly doesn't count your laps, but it's still a very faithful recreation of one of the best maps in CTR. I just would have personally preferred them to do Hot Air Skyway. SMK Bowser's Castle. This one's pretty simple, but it's probably the most effective type of simple, leading to a map which I usually pick if I want to play TF Kart and Technobabble isn't available. Two Fork Grand Prix. This is another collection of stages, but it uses something that I forgot to mention Technobabble had. Instead of only being a certain amount of laps and then you're done, you're scoring laps for your team, meaning that the amount of laps you do accounts for the amount of points you get for either red or blue, which is a genius way to bring the team in Team Fortress 2 into this mode. Sadly, the other 2 stages in the collection aren't finished, but this one's still a banger. Minecraft Test Track. This is one of the higher quality tracks featuring custom music, custom textures, and custom rule changes to the formula. Sadly though, the rule changes include no mini turbos and no items, which kind of water down the mode, albeit having the latter one being unintentional. Those are the highlight tracks for the race mode, but there's also battle mode, where instead of finishing a lap, you have to knock everyone else off the stage, which is probably how you'd expect battle mode to work in this kind of scenario. So here are the highlights for the battle mode stages. Block Fort. You can already tell the moment I said battle stages that the first thing I would talk about is Block Fort. It's Block Fort, though it is a little trickier to find people considering that you don't have the luxury of split screen or minimaps to tell you where your opponent is. Block Fort again? Yeah, much to my knowledge, there are 2 versions of Block Fort. This one being the older, slimmer, inferior version. Well, at least it's Airstrike friendly. Also, considering that I mentioned them first, you may think the Block Fort is the best battle map, but in my opinion, due to how the mode is structured, that title goes to Double Deck. Because in Block Fort, and all of the other N64 battle stages for that matter, it's pretty easy to tell where the pitfalls are. You know, it's either the outside of the map or in the inside of the map, just don't go there or you'll perish. But in Double Deck, the pitfalls are always just a bump away, meaning the matches go quicker and tend to be a lot more intense. And also because of the flatter nature of the map, it makes it somewhat easier to find people instead of being, alright, what corner and what level is he around? And is he gonna make a jump on me? Oh god, what the f— I would go on for longer about the maps, but we don't have all day, and I just got off editing something where I did go on all day. So what I'll do is when I finish making this video, I'll do a little summary of every map in a notepad file with all the other maps. The download link will be in the description, by the way. So then, the last thing I wanted to talk about is why the game mode is so barren. Why half of the TF2 community mistakes it for that one Mario Kart map. Why it's TF2's most forgotten community game mode. And you know what? I think I might have an answer. A lot of TF2's community game modes revolve around the movement and gameplay of TF2 with a twist. And this is what keeps people coming back to them, because they can apply the skill they've learned in the base game to see how they do in this completely new mode. Like, let me visualize this. Versus Saxton Hale is TF2 with a boss fight, Dodgeball is TF2 with a homing insta-kill rocket, Death Run is TF2 but you have to bait people, Smash Bros is TF2 but it works like Smash Bros, and then we get to TF Kart. TF Kart is TF2 with bumper cars, and this is why I think the game mode flopped. If you play almost any other community game mode for the first time, you can take the skill you've learned from the base game and apply it to the mode. In TF Kart, unless you played a full round of Carnival of Carnage, you're starting from square one, and even then you'll only be starting from square two. People just don't want to dedicate hours of their lives learning how to play a game mode with only fractions of the content of the other, more popular game modes. And for the people who do know how to play it, there's just not enough content to keep them coming back. There's only like, what, 12 noteworthy maps for the mode, while there's hundreds of others for the other community game modes. And that is an instant drawaway, and that is why I think, personally, this mode was dead ever since it released. It's a sad truth, but it's a truth. That being said, TF Kart is probably my most played TF2 custom game mode because of how different it is. And also because my nostalgic roots lie with this absolute masterpiece of kart races right here, even to the point where I tried to make a couple of maps for it myself, and even a new sub-game mode. It didn't work the end. But at the end of the day, even if barely anyone plays this mode, I will forever take pride in knowing that I'm probably the only person who's ever got a sub 30 lap on Technobabble.
So much magic! Very nice! I win every time, because I'm the best. And so are you.